Today I'm with Irene. She's going to introduce herself, then we'll start the live.
But you've already introduced me.
Your other name.
My other name, is it important? Okay,
Very.
fine. Thank you, Esther. Although you didn't introduce yourself, but it's well, we can have that after me. My name is Irene Wabule. I'm a lawyer working with Barefoot Law. We are happy to have you on our live. This happens, I think, after a fortnight,
Yes.
2 weeks, or once in a month. So we are happy to have this session. And today we are touching something that is very pertinent when it comes to employment, to the friends that are employed. This is something that you'd love to be a part of. As you all know, Barefoot Law's role is to simplify the law, to ensure that we all understand the law. We can use it to prevent and resolve disputes. So we hope that the information that you gain today, you can use it. If you have an issue that is Esther, I think, already touched it, salary loans. We already mentioned that topic. We hope that you can use this information correctly, but not just for you, but for your friends, for your family members, for your colleagues, because this is something that touches many of us. But before we get right into it, please comment, share, tap the live, tap, make use of our fingers. Let's tap the live, let's share, let's engage, let's comment, like, share with our friends, our families, so that they can also be part of this. We are just trying to give us time so that you can join. Please share the link. Yes, Esther, back to you. Can you please introduce
Thank you,
yourself?
Irene. I'll introduce myself and the organization.
Okay.
Yes. My name is Esther Talamoy. Yes, a legal officer at Barefoot Law. Barefoot Law is a non-for-profit organization. Like Irene said, we offer free legal information, guidance, and mediation services at our office. Our main office is in Kampala. We have box offices or field offices in Gulu, Lira, Namtumba, and in Ngora currently. So if you have any relatives that side, they need legal information, they need guidance, they have a challenge, and they need a lawyer to help mediate, we do all of that for free. We use technology to reach out to you people. For example, this live, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook. We have a WhatsApp number that's going to be shared. If you people have WhatsApp, you can send a message and we'll get in touch with you. People on Facebook, our Facebook page is Barefoot Lawyers Uganda. Our TikTok page is Barefoot Law. So please share this with someone who needs. Or if you have any questions, engage in the live, and thereafter we'll also be able to respond to your messages. So our topic of the day is salary loans. Who can get a salary loan? Where do you get it from? What do you do in case your contract ends? These are questions you've been receiving. So we thought it wise to have a live. So what's a loan? I think we all know someone who has a loan. You've gotten a loan from a friend. Some of them, we call them friendly loans. So a loan is simply money someone gives you that you'll have to pay back, usually with an interest. So the interest is either you agree upon it, but there's a standard interest by the World Bank, Bank of Uganda, that determines, no, you can't give out a loan beyond this amount. Otherwise, it's illegal. So a loan is money that someone gives you because you need, and you'll pay them back at an agreed time and place. And how you, mobile money, bank. When it comes to salary loans, we know a salary. You work at the end of the month, or maybe every 2 weeks, you're paid a salary by your employer for work done. People who usually get salaries, or people who get salaries, are employed people. So when it comes to salary loans, these are loans for people who are employed and get a salary. These are unsecured loans. There are two types of loans. We have a secured loan and unsecured loan.
Yes.
So when you go to the bank, usually they'll ask you, hey, how much do you want? Do you qualify? Okay, what do you have that's going to be a guarantee of if you don't pay back our money, we can still what? Get back the money in other ways. So they'll ask you, do you have a land title? Do you have a logbook? Do you have a house that you use as security? Those are secured loans. Then a salary loan is unsecured. When you go to the bank to get a loan, They'll not ask you for, oh, do you have a house? Do you have this? Your guarantee is your contract. I am employed with Barefoot Law. I have a running contract for 3 years. I want a loan of this much. So they'll look through your contract and then, okay, so it's unsecured. Their security as the bank or the money lender is you have a job, you earn this much. So at the end of the month, you're going to be paid. So they'll take this. They'll also then require your employer to give them a letter of undertaking. So you don't just go to the bank, your employer must be aware. They have to confirm, one, you're employed. Two, because one, company policy is important. There are some companies that do not allow you to get a salary loan. So if your company policy forbids that, it's not against the law. If your human resource policy says you can get, then you have to. Some of them go as far as, if you want a salary loan, these are the banks we work with. So if your employer will give a letter of undertaking, and then they are a third party to this loan agreement. But their role is an undertaking that every month, Esther is paid this much. So every month from before we pay her salary, we shall remit the agreed amount. So I think that gives us a brief start.
Please, if you've just joined us, we are talking about salary loans for today. And this is the information that we believe will be very important for most of us who are employed. Now, the issue is that who is an employee? I think we need to also have that discussion to find out who is an employee, because I would also want to understand, can my house help, come to me and ask me for a salary loan? Maybe, is that possible? So, but today, I hope we restrict ourselves to the Employment Act, because we are talking about a salary loan, but also we are talking about employment. Maybe we can open it up later, but for now, if we are to restrict it to employment, means that someone who is officially employed by a company, by an organization, a government entity, agency, institution, like you have a formal contract with this specific employer, and the terms are very clear. You are an employee, and they are your employer. Yes, so those terms, the relationship must be very clear, because also you must be earning a salary, because you could be employed and maybe
you're volunteering.
You're not earning a salary. That means that this salary loan might not work for you. So you need to be paid this money that comes in every month or every after 2 weeks. I don't know, it depends on your contract and what it provides for. So we are talking about formal employment, the ones who are employed and they have a salary. But Esther, what about, can a house help come to me for a salary loan? Can I be an undertaker for them? Is that possible? Because they're earning also salary in this homestead where they're working for me. So is it possible?
That's a very tricky question, given the landscape of Uganda and how we deal with our house helps. But the new Employment Act, the amendment, has provided for, if you employ someone for 6 months, you know how we work with our house helps, they come, they live with us, or some of them are what we call day bags. They come in the morning, go in the evening. After 6 months, they become automatically an employee. So they're entitled to benefits that employees have. So I don't know if in our homes we have home policies, HR policies that run, but also how we pay them matters. Are we paying them? Do they have a bank account that we are paying them to? Is it mobile money? Esther, if my bank is in Stanbic, I can't go to ABSA and say, hey, now give me a salary loan. You need to have a relationship with this bank. So I know if your employee, if your housemaid is not coming 2 days a week, once a month, if she has been with you for a number of years, according to the law, she's an employee. If your policy with your house help allows you, and you're paying her, she wants a loan from Bank X, she has her account in Bank X, that's how you pay her, then now you have a contract. There has to be a record, because they require 6 months, your bank statement of 6 months. How much have you been paid? How is the money paid? Between 28th to 30th? Okay, how much? Because before you can't ask for a salary loan of 100 million, yet in a year what you get is 10 million. It's not, it doesn't make sense. And your contract is for 2 years. So that's due diligence that the bank does.
But I think also when it comes to the people that we employ or work with at home, let's say the house the house helps. We don't have contracts with them because usually it's just an informal relationship. You have a discussion. I'm going to pay you 150 per month, and that is it. So there is nothing that is written. And yet, when you go to the bank and you want a salary loan, you need something. You need like a contract, something that is written that can prove that you are actually employed. So the best we can, maybe if your employer can be your guarantor, like your employer at home can maybe probably be a guarantor. A guarantor is different from a salary loan. A salary loan in this case, like salary is acting like security.
Yes.
You know, you're using your contract, and money you're going to be paid every month is acting like security. But when it comes to guarantorship, it means that if this person fails to pay the money, you, the guarantor, you'll be responsible for that loan. It will be you who will pay. So maybe if your employer at home, if you're a house help and your employer at home is willing to be a guarantor, maybe you could explore that. But the salary loan in this case might not be available for you because of the circumstances that we have just looked into. Yes.
Irene, I don't think, me personally, there's no one I'm going to be a guarantor for. Because times are hard, and usually your house help, you're not sure because she may get the loan and decide, like every employee, hey, no, it's okay, time, I want to resign. You see. So what I would usually say, if you do not qualify for a salary loan, you're going through tough times, you need some money, there's something we call salary advance. So salary advance is different from a loan. Salary loan is not given by your employer. It's from a bank or a financial institution. Salary advance is by your employer. Esther is employed with Barefoot Law. She has a running contract for a year. I need some money to do, maybe I have an emergency, I want to start a small business. So this is also, what does your company policy say? This is not a matter of the law. What does your company policy say? Do they give salary loans? Do they allow you to get a salary loan, or do they give advances? If your company policy allows you to get an advance, then you can get. An advance is money you've not worked for. We are in July, so most of us are paid at the end of the month. You need some money. Go to your employer, tell them I need some money. They'll look at how much they pay you based on the policy, how much they're willing to give you. So money they've given you before you've worked for it. So usually the policies state what percentage. Some of them will tell you, we'll give you half your salary for 3 months. We'll give you half your salary for a year, depending on the policy. So an advance is money given to you by your employer before you have worked. So if you don't qualify for a salary loan, or your employer is a bit hesitant, I would suggest, even for our house helps, I know we do this for them. Oh, they'll call in the village, they have said, maybe I want to buy some pigs, but can you give me money before? So you're given a salary advance.
Yes.
And from that advance, that means at the end of the month, don't begin telling us now. We've had scenarios of, now I got an advance, but then I wanted him to pay me back all my money. They didn't pay me, but you got an advance. I know we had an issue like that, where a school gave teachers advance. Then when they were terminated, they came saying they were not paid. So for employers, we also urge you, one, contracts are very important. And then when you're giving advances, it has to be written down. Esther has asked for an advance of this much as per our policy. Yes, it's allowed. We've given her. And this is how we are going to pay. Yes.
Okay. So that means that something to do with interest is very important. Because when it comes to salary loans, you are usually taking them, but there is an interest that the bank or the lending agent will be asking from you. But for advance, there's no interest. It's just an agreement that I'm giving you this money in advance, your salary in advance, and you're going to be paying it in this period of time. And that means that when that time comes, I'll not be paying you, or maybe I'll be deducting 20% or 80%. So it's just basically an agreement. It depends on what the policy of that company provides. But usually there's no interest when it comes to advance. But salary loans, those ones automatically, if you've gone to the bank or any institution that lends money, they are going to ask for interest.
And if you're in luck, your policies allow you to get salary loans, and your policies provide for advance. You can get both. There is no limit. So you can go to Bank X, get a salary loan, then you can come to your organization and get an advance. So, but also now the amount will depend on for the advance, what the policies say, also for the bank and all of that. You can have both. If you want both and the policies allow, you can have a salary advance from your employer. Then you also have from Bank X or a certain financial institution and a salary loan. The difference is, like Council Irene has said, one, there is interest, one, there is no interest.
Yes.
But also I encourage you, one, the interest should be within what the Bank of Uganda states. Don't get loans more than, 30% interest. With salary loans, your employer is of course going to give a letter of undertaking. They are not required to ask you for any money to do what? To pay to transfer the money. Or they can say, now because we are going to allow you to get a salary loan, give us 10%. That is illegal. Even with the advance, they're not required to charge you interests. So Irene, we have issues of the employer has allowed the policies accept. What must the employer, what are their obligations? What should they do?
I think you already hinted on that, but if you've just joined us, we are talking about salary loans today. And please share, comment, engage. And we hope the questions have started coming in. Our producer will let us know, but I'm hoping the questions are coming in. Please ask as many questions as you can. If you cannot ask today, maybe you can call us. We have a line, our contact 0392 177-405. If you call, you are able to ask your question. If you don't want to put it here, maybe you don't want people to know that
it's personal.
It's personal. So please, you can call us or you can send us an inbox. It can be on TikTok, it can be on Facebook, it can be on
WhatsApp,
and also Instagram. So please reach out, ask, and we shall be able to respond. But we continue with our discussion on salary loans. And what was the question, Esther?
Obligations of the employer when the policies permit.
Yes, when the policies permit. That means that if the policies are not there, you cannot walk in and ask for a salary loan from your employer. Because when you're employed by someone, they usually give you the HR manual. So you should be able to know that this is actually provided or not. If it's provided for and it's clearly stipulated and the procedure is clear, that is when you have the conversation with your employer. Now, Esther mentioned at the beginning, one of the requirements for the employer is to give an undertaking. That means that the employer must consent. The police might provide, but it's very important that the employer consents, gives an undertaking. Maybe it's something, not maybe, they must write, expressly to the bank. If you've approached a particular bank, let's say Stanbic, and you want to use your contract, first of all, like Esther mentioned, they will first review that contract. If they find that, yes, your contract is okay and your policies allow you to take the loan, then they will review it and see how long it is, the period. Some of us employed annual, like 1 year contract. So those ones are very difficult for you to get a loan. 1 year, unless your loan, you want to pay it in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, and so on, but not beyond 1 year. Because beyond 1 year, that means that they cannot guarantee. Suppose your contract ends and it's not renewed. So those are the challenges if you have 1 year contract. But if you have something like 2, usually they prefer 3 years. Those ones, at least it's safe for the bank. So it's possible for you to get it. So there should be an undertaking written from the employer that is very clear. They have signed, and they are allowing you to take that loan. Without that in place, it becomes very difficult for the bank to acknowledge, because the banks are also, this is not something that you walk in the bank and they're excited. Yes, they want you to take the loan, but they need to take precautions. So they will ask for that undertaking from your lawyer and from your employer. And if possible, they can even come up to the workplace, to do due diligence, to inquire. But we also know that the workplaces that give salary loans are known, especially like government, some government institutions, like they are known. They know that in this place, actually salary loans are are allowed. So, but if your place is not known, and you please make sure that it's written, it's clear, engage the bank, engage the employer, so that there is an understanding and it's clear. Everyone is informed, they know the terms, they know the responsibility, and so on.
Thank you, Irene. Our numbers and our social media pages are going to be shared. So some of the things that are required: one, a letter of undertaking. Your contract, it has to be clear. Some of us don't have written contract. No, don't worry, I'm employed, I work here. Okay, you said, where is the evidence? We encourage you to please have contracts, written contracts. So part of you sharing your contract, one, is for them to review and do their homework, their due diligence. Okay, Esther is employed, she's employed for a year. Oh, then they'll be like, renewable. They're like, okay, there is hope. How much is she paid? So it helps the bank determine how much to pay, how much they can give you, how much they are willing. Two, then your employer must also commit to pay you a salary. There are places where they pay you after 4 months. Maybe that's how you've agreed. So you'll be required to also share a bank slip. Also, in that letter of undertaking, your employer commits to pay salary, because the bank is like, hey, Esther, you got a salary loan. June, we've not seen money, have not been paid. The employer, because they are a third party, they are privy to this contract, they will be asked, how you committed to pay salary? So they have to commit to pay salary. They have to notify your bank in case you're terminated. Because one of the questions we usually get is, so if I get a salary loan, our contracts are ending in December, can I get a salary loan for 2 years to secure my position? Unfortunately, salary loans and advances are not security for your job. Yes. You could have a salary loan because, of course, Esther has been at Barefoot Law. I have a salary loan. Probably my contract is ending July. That doesn't mean now you need to get a loan for security. You can still be terminated and you will be obligated to continue paying that loan. We're going to discuss that. So to note, your employer should guarantee they will pay you salary. They would notify the bank in case of any changes. Increase. Actually, when your money increases, you've been promoted. You could decide now, we've been paying 500, we've increased to 1 million. So you renegotiate the terms of the loan with the bank. Okay. So yes.
Thank you so much, Esther. I think there's an interesting question here that can you get both a salary loan and an advance? And I think, first of all, it is possible. In my opinion, it is possible. But it also depends on your contract. It also depends on how much you earn and how much you've taken from the bank. Let's say, I'm not good with math, but let me try to paint a picture. Let's say, for example, you earn 1 million and you've gone to the bank, you've gotten a salary loan that is ongoing, and maybe they deduct 600 per month from it, including the interest and so on. That means that your take home at this point is only 400,000. And so if you talk to your employer and they are willing to give you advance on the remaining 400,000, then it should be possible. But you cannot ask for both salary loan. You cannot have both a salary loan and also take advance if you know that if you're given advance, it will affect your salary loan, because your salary loan in this case comes first. It takes precedence. Like, it's the most important thing. That's the biggest obligation that you have. So if you're paying debts and so on, they will have to start with the salary loan. Whatever remains, then you can deem it fit how you can use it. So it depends on how much you have taken, and this also depends on your employer. If they're real willing, you have a salary loan going on, then you've come for an advance. I don't know what kind of picture that will give your employer,
I think based on that, so some of the reasons you cannot, policies, you have to come, you need transport to go to work.
Yes.
You need to come to work, you have obligations. So if policies usually, no one dictates how much. If your policies allow and you've decided you earn 1 million, the policies are okay. But usually employers will state, if you earn 1 million, we can only give you 5, you can give you maybe 3 months, that's 1.5. And every month you'll pay 500 so that you have 500. You can't come to work with hair that's shabby. You can't be off. So they'll usually, policies will limit how much you can get. So when it comes to termination, someone asked, can this be security? We have two instances. One, there's an instance where you're unfairly dismissed or terminated. You've been working well. Then your employer decides, Esther, you know what? Quit. You can't be here. But I have a salary loan. Remember, I'm paying this loan from my salary. So you've dismissed me. First of all, it's unfair. How am I going to pay? The position of the law is very clear. My contract for Esther is ending in December. June, have been told, you know what, pack up and go. Probably you're giving your payment in lieu of notice. And now I'm confused. What have I done? You've been coming late. But no, from the records, I come on time. Or you've not been doing your tasks. Have done a performance review with my supervisor. I am doing well. Once it's determined that you were unfairly dismissed, part of the money the company owes to pay. Of course, when you've been unfairly dismissed, there are damages, there are certain monies that or orders court will make. On top of those orders, court is going to instruct your employer to pay till December, because my contract is running till December, right? Probably I was hoping they'll renew it for the next year. So I have a salary loan of 50 million. My contract ends in December because usually I've been here for a while and I know they'll renew and I've been doing well. I see no reason why I would be terminated. If I've been unfairly dismissed, court will require that my employer, after court has found out and it's true Esther has been unfairly dismissed, court is going to require that on top of everything they pay, the damages, the costs for incurring to bring this suit, they will pay me. They'll pay my salary loan until December. If they've been paying maybe 2 million from my salary, they'll pay 2 million, 2 million, 2 million until December. What happens in December? Because I have 50 million. From December to when the loan is supposed to then end, it is on you to figure out a way. So what do I recommend? One, go to your bank, tell them, I've been paying, but my contract has been terminated. Earlier, I said one of the obligations of your employer is to notify the bank. Esther has been terminated. She's no longer working with us. We don't have a duty to then remit this salary. So now you have a discussion with your bank. Esther, I'll go to my bank or my financial institution where I got this money. So I've been paying like this. My contract has ended. Remember, we said salary loans come with interest. The interest will be renegotiated, payment period. I've been paying 500, but now I have a stall. I'm selling some clothes, some shoes. How much do you make? About this much. Okay, instead of paying 500, pay 300. One, this prolongs the payment period. Two, this increases the interest. So in case of your key takeaways, in case of unfair termination, your employer is required to pay from point of when you were terminated to when your contract ends. Lucky for you, if that covers a salary loan, then that ends it. If you've been lawfully terminated, my contract, Esther, ends in December. My salary loan is until maybe April next year. If I'm terminated maybe in December, they've not renewed my contract, you can't say, now what do you want me to do? You fired me. Still, go back to your bank. Here, I thought they would renew, but can we renegotiate the payment terms? One, don't disappear. Because the longer you disappear, they're going to find you. Two, your employer is going to be like, me, since you terminated, people usually like, they terminated me, it's on them, let them figure out how to pay. So I encourage you, please, in case of anything, go have a discussion with your financial institution. Because if you disappear, there is a whole court, they'll take you to court. Then there's a whole process. Then before you know, they've taken your house. Then you'll be like, but I didn't put my house as security. So there's a process where they will attach your properties for the bank or the financial institution to be able to recover their money. Even if it's a salary loan and you don't have a salary, there are ways the bank legally will go about it to get their money. Yes,
so Esther, you're saying, that's the touchy point. Usually when questions come in, that is the center for the question. I had taken a salary loan. Now I've lost my job. They've terminated. What do I do? Does my employer, have to pay for this loan? Do they give me the money? Because for me, I knew it is salary. Yes, you're telling us that the salary loan doesn't necessarily give you security on your job. Like, doesn't mean that now I've arrived. They cannot let me go because I have a salary loan ongoing. After all, the employer even gave me that letter of undertaking that you talked about. So right now, it's like you're actually hitting me direct. Are
you telling us something?
Not really. So, but that's the area I want us to focus on to ensure that our people understand, the responsibility. When you take a loan, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to now stay at that job. It is protection for you until you finish the loan. That's when the employer can think of dismissing you or can think of letting you go. It's not security. That salary loan won't protect you in case you do something, maybe misconduct, maybe the company is winding up. There could be so many reasons as to why your job could end. So that doesn't mean that now you hold your employer at choke point. No, you gave me that you're allowed, so you cannot let me go. It won't protect you. And this has just explained. If you've not understood, please ask the question so that we can make it clear for you, because this is where it is. This is where the whole conversation rotates, and this is what we are going through at our workplaces. Many of us have lost our jobs, and now it takes some time to get another job, and yet the bank is still on your case. Do you go back to the bank and now use maybe another security if the salary has gone, and maybe what you were given for severance, maybe it was not enough to cover for the loan? So do they now use security? But that's the conversation you can only have with the bank, to establish and
how do we go
about it? Because the truth is, yes, I know how difficult the banks can be, but they are also human beings. There are those people that the loan managers, is it officers? How do they call them? That's I don't know. Whatever. Those ones, that person, because when you get a loan from the bank, you're assigned someone that you work with, maybe loan officers, managers, and so on. So please have a conversation with them to ensure that you establish new terms, not necessarily new terms, but like how best you can manage. So there is a question that has come in here. When asking for a loan top-up, do I pay the old loan interest or what the principal loan, same bank? I don't know if that is clear. It's from Amos. He's asking, when asking for a loan top-up, do I pay the old loan interest?
Okay.
Or what the principal loan, same bank?
The question is not very clear, but I'm going to assume your question. So we go back to policies. We're talking about salary loans, not any loan. Salary loans are loans given to people who are employed with running contracts. Don't tell us you were employed in 2002, you were earning a salary and you want a salary loan in 2025. People with running contracts. So what does your company policy provide for? If I have a loan with a financial institution, I have not yet been paid. Have not yet finished paying it. Does the company policy allow me, I got 10 million, have paid, now I have 2 million, I want to top up? What do your policies provide? If the bank gave you a loan at an interest of 11%, and maybe their current interest is now 13, you will go with the new interest. Like when you finish your 2 million, you want an extra 5 million, the policies allow, we are okay with it. So your 2 million is at 11%. That was another contract. The contract to top up is another contract. I think Irene touched on something of guarantee. I had a question in our system where someone asked, I am not paying this employer because, one, you gave me an advance and you fired me. It's your money. No, the same thing with advance and salary loans. Your employer is going to demand you. You've come to work, you're not behaving, you're not doing your tasks, you've been put on performance improvement plans, PIPs, you're not doing anything. What happens? They'll let you go, but you still owe them their money. One, we have the small claims procedure court. Companies cannot take matters there. If you're demanding someone money below 10 million, these are found at the Chief Magistrate's Court. Companies cannot take cases there. So what they'll do is they'll take you through formal court process and you'll still pay. So if you have an advance and for any reason you've been terminated or dismissed, still have that conversation with your employer on how to pay. If you have severance, they'll usually take it off before they give you the money. So I think our producers are going to share our WhatsApp number, our toll-free number. Please reach out to us after this live or at any point. Share this live with anyone. They're going to share them in the description box. Yes. Please share your questions. We are taking on questions.
I think someone has also noted that they fall victims of those agreements due to hidden interpretation of the terms therein. Say something. The problem is that, you see, it's not actually a problem. You see, by the time someone is going for a loan, they are under a lot of pressure. They are desperate. And usually you want the money there and then within 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. So it depends on your issue. So in most cases, even when you're handed the documents, you know, by the bank to read through, you are just rushing to go and see how much it is. You even don't pay attention to the interest per month or per annum. That is the information that you leave out. Thirdly, you just rush to sign, put your thumbprint or signature, and yet by the time you put your thumbprint or the signature, it means that you have understood, you know, all the contents in the loan agreement. So here we really don't have legal advice, but the thing is just for you to be diligent, you know, prudent on your side before you sign, before you assign to anything, before you sign for that loan. Please read through. If you're not able to understand, we have lawyers here at Barefoot Law. Esther, if someone reached out and they want us to help them
review their contracts.
Yes. I think that's something they could call. You could call and talk to a lawyer so that interpret for you that particular section that is not clear, so that you walk in knowing your rights, your obligations, the rights of the bank, the rights of the rights of the employer, and so on. All that information is actually there. There's no information that misses. It is there, but when you're given like 20 pages, you're like,
this is a lot.
This is a lot for me to
non-lawyers.
Yes, this is a lot for me to do. But that's why we are here, to help you understand, to break it down for you, so that you sign what you understand, or you undertake what you actually consent to. Tomorrow when things fail and they bring out a particular provision, you are able to, you know, to comply. Be like, yes, I understood, yes, I know that provision, but you know, things have failed, man, you know, let's maybe find a way of going about it. Not you raising the point of ignorance, or but I didn't know that part, you know, I didn't know that provision. If I'd known, I would not have taken this loan. Everything is there.
I think just we have a number of questions coming in on Facebook, but I wanted to emphasize contracts. There is a saying, or what do you call them, a maxim, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. Have you done your part? Or you got the contract, you're desperate, you signed, you can't be like, you see, by the time I was getting that loan, my child was sick. That's quite unfortunate. There was a deal I needed to do. They were buying the land, I needed to make a deposit. Quite unfortunate. Did they give you the contract? Yes. Did you read through? I mean, I didn't want, I was lazy. Sorry, that's unfortunate. You're still bound by that terms. Unless you ask the loan officer, like, no, this is it. If you were lied to, or you were given a contract in English, you don't understand English. They have a duty to get someone, or you go with someone, do your part to explain to you, Kati, wanawategeza chino, or chitaged. They've said you pay in 3 months, you signed, but you said me, I wanted to pay in 6 months. Once you sign a contract and you were just maybe ignorance of the law is not defense, you're still bound by it, or you were quite lazy, or you don't want to engage a lawyer, you will still be bound by the terms of that contract. Yes, we have a number of questions, so I think the producer will read and will respond on this end.
Okay. The first question is, are application fees for loans legal? I'm going to ask, I think, 3, then you take them, then you ask the others. Are application loans for fees, are application fees for loans legal? If they restructure, yet I was still willing to work, can my employer pay the loan instead of me? And then the other is, what key terms should I look out for in a salary loan agreement?
Okay. I think Esther will do the second. Let me talk about the application fees for the loans. Now, The truth is I've not gotten a loan before. So I might not be able to know whether every bank or whether every lending institution asks for application fees. So, but as you can see, actually it might not be legal, because if it was legal, I would know. It would be provided for in the law. But of course, we understand that the lending institutions they are at liberty to come up with policies that think they work for them, and also they do so knowing that if the customer comes and they really want to get a loan, they should be in the position to pay for the application fee. So if you think the application fee is unfair, maybe you could try another bank, because I don't think it's a standard. Maybe you could let us know whether it's a standard in every bank that before you apply, you must pay for application fee, and how much is it? And that's where your judgment, where you're able to judge and ask, but is this fair? And if it's not fair, why should you take it up? Again, I know that usually we go for loans when we are desperate. So even when they ask for 250, you first pay, we pay for it. But it's so unfair, because if I had that 250 in the first place, I should not have come for the loan. Maybe I want more, yes, I know, but you go there when you're desperate, when you really don't have money. So asking us to pay for the application fee, I don't think, in my opinion, that it's fair. But if you wanted to know whether it's legal or not, the law does not expressly provide for that. But if the bank has come up, like your workplace, they have policies, they have policies that are very clear, and by the time you go and apply, that means that you have consented. So you cannot turn around and say, unless it's legal. But like I said, it's not clear in the law, it's not prohibited. The law provides for interest. The interest is very clear. It's regulated by the Bank of Uganda. I think every year they release the interest rate that is supposed to be followed by the lending institutions. But the application fee, that one, I'm very hesitant, unless Esther here is exposed.
Yes.
Do you know?
Usually for loans, all loans, there's a processing fee that you have to pay. There's a processing. When you get a loan, when you ask for 10 million, what people usually don't know is you won't get 10 million. So before you even get that loan, a salary loan or any loan, sit with the person at the bank you've been given. I want 10 million. What do you want to do? You're not going to get 10 million. There's processing fee that is taken off, and it's not illegal. So there's money that is, so if you want 10 million, at the end, you'll get like maybe 8 point something. But from the bank's end, Esther wants a loan of 10 million. This is the interest. So when you get the loan, you have 8.2. No, you've not been robbed. That's processing fee. So have that discussion with the loan officer or the person in charge. Such you ask them, okay, if I get 10 million, what is processing fee? How much am I going to get in my account? Don't be shocked. 3 days later, you've signed 10 million, like 8.2, and now I'm paying back 12 million. They didn't even give me my 10 million to do my business. It doesn't make sense. There's a processing fee.
Like a service, you're paying for the service?
Yes, a processing fee. So it's usually they'll call it an application fee or the different terms, but yes, it's legal. Please, before you get that loan or before you're confused, sit with the loan officer. I encourage people, when you go to get money, however desperate you are, ask these questions. Doctors say prevention is better than cure. Don't get confused, and they're not cheating you. It's not illegal. Then some of the key terms you look for. When you get these contracts, they're 30 pages. I know we usually get bad PR for you like reading a lot. This is why we are here, to help you. And there are sometimes, usually people say they put where, hence, comma, and it's confusing. Get a lawyer. Barefoot Law, we are happy to serve you, to review this contract. Counsel, they've said henceforth. What does that mean? We'll be able to interpret. So the key terms you look at. For a contract, there has to be an offer. The bank has offered to give you a loan. Have you accepted? Before you accept, what have you done? Read the contract. What's the interest rate? They're saying 34. What's Bank of Uganda's interest rate? Is this legal or illegal? What's the payment period? For salary loans, actually, if you agree to, loans are a business. If you agree to pay in 3 months, but you want to pay in 1, where is my interest for the other 2 months? For certain salary loans, you'll even be charged an early payment fee. You see how there's a late payment fee? For salary loans, you may be charged an early payment fee. You've agreed to pay in 3 years. We've calculated our car profit. 2 years later, like, man, I have that cheap deal. I want to pay you guys at once. Yeah, thanks. But now this is the early payment fee. Ask for those things. What happens in case of termination? Have those discussions. In case now we're not agreeing and reduce or increase the money. For some loans, they tell you whether you've gotten a promotion or not. Can I increase how much I'm paying? They've calculated their profit. So if you're increasing how much you're paying off this loan, you're eating into their profits. They're not making much money. So have those discussions. So once you've understood what's in the contract, what's the consideration? Usually it's the what? The interest rate. So some of the key terms. We've discussed, I've been laid off from my job. I'm still willing to work. What do I do? We discussed that. It's your duty. If you're lawfully terminated, then you still have to pay. Sit with a bank, have a discussion. Employers have a right, the same way you can apply for a job. Employers have a right to choose who they want to work with. If maybe, Esther, you're not meeting the expectations, you're redundant, or your position is not really necessary anymore, they're restructuring. Unfortunately, your willingness to work, it's like, I want to be friends with you. Irene is like, no, we are done. In my plans for this year, we're supposed to be best friends. You can't kick me out. No, that's quite unfortunate. You'll still have the duty to pay this loan. So renegotiate with your financial institution. Shivan, I think, producer, I think we have responded. And we are happy.
The third question?
Yes, it was in the key term.
Just answered it. Yes. So we have 3 more questions. Someone has asked, my employer picked money from the work circle. My employer picked money from the work circle to pay my advance. Is that legal? What should I do? Then, salary loans are insured. Do I need to care if the insurance will pay? Okay. And then someone else asked, if I have 2 accounts, is the same, if I have 2 accounts in the same bank and I use one to get a loan, can the bank deduct money from one account to the other?
I think to start with the third question, that's not possible. Again, we know that when you're taking a loan, there is an agreement that you have signed. And in those documents, you provide the bank, even if you have like the 10 accounts, you're supposed to provide a specific bank account that is going to be used for remitting or deducting that money from. So even when I have other bank accounts in that bank, the bank has no right to do so unless they come to me and we have that conversation, and again I assign them to get the money from that other bank account. But without that in place, the bank cannot get money from another bank account that you have. They'll be violating your right or your relationship with the bank, the customer banker relationship. So that can only happen where you give consent. Without that, they are supposed to only use the bank account that you provided, that you gave them, that you agreed that will be used for deductions and payment.
Some of the things actually in this agreement is, what's your name? Full government names, not sugar candy, baby. Your position at that organization, the name of the organization, what bank. You can't go to financial institution X and they don't know you, don't have a relationship. Look at it this way. I'm not going to go to the street and find, hi, how are you? Give me a loan. Bro, who are you? So even with a bank, you need a relationship. You've been with, that's why they ask you for a bank slip. How long have you been with us? 1 year. But your account has been dormant. So you need to have a bank account where the financial institution is like, oh, this person has been with us for a year, 6 months. They've been paid. We see at the end of every month, they have their 500K consistently. Maybe they pay on 28th, on 29th, they've deducted it, they've withdrawn all of it. That's fine, but they're seeing consistency. So the bank, you may have 3 bank accounts, but the account or the account that I have that I'm paid to from my employer is bank X. My account number is this. You'll have 3 accounts, but they'll never have the same bank account number. So in case, like Irene discussed, they cannot do that. They cannot now say, hey, I didn't Shiva, I know she's the same person. Maybe we are 3 of us. in the same bank. So they'll have to ask, one, is this the same person? Or then when you fail to pay, how do they deduct? One, they'll take you to court. So usually in court, they'll find out, one, okay, this person has failed to pay their loan. How do we go about it? That's when they'll usually be like, no, we've done our due diligence. She has a house here. We've also done our due diligence. We can confirm she has a bank account here with money that can pay. It's court that makes the order to attach that account for the money then to be sent. Your bank can be like, you failed to pay here, we're going to move money here. Someone also asked someone, work circle and salary are different things. Unless in maybe your policies or in your agreement, you've decided, if I fail to pay my advance, go to the circle. These are two different things. Your employer can't decide, I'm saying you're struggling with your advance. But also usually what happens, if you get an advance, before they pay you, they've deducted, if you earn 1 million, and from your agreement in your advance, every month you pay 200, you'll get 800. That's usually some of the ways the employer protects. They don't be like, you earn 1 million, we've given you. So on Monday, can you give us our 200? No. They also have to be sharp. They'll protect themselves by taking off their portion, then give you. So in instances where they're going to your work circle, what does your agreement, that salary, because you earn a salary, you don't just walk into your finance office, oh, okay guys, I need an advance. There's also an attached agreement to your contract. So what does that provide for? Salary loans are insured. Should I worry about that? Insured by who and between who? Because
Maybe,
the bank,
the Prudential, Jubilee,
yes, but now the contract of insurance is between Stanbic, DFCU, your financial institution, and Prudential. That's their
but
security.
maybe we have an agreement that, of course, yes, I'm using the salary as the security to get this loan. But then I also go ahead and have an understanding or undertaking with an insurance house that in the event that anything happens, maybe I've lost my job or anything happens and I'm unable to pay for my employment, or the salary is unable to pay for this loan, then the insurance should come in. So I pay I have an agreement, pay some money with the insurance so that they come in and cover. So I think that's the kind of insurance the person is talking about.
There are two instances then, because I know usually financial institutions insure their money. Their bad debts. Esther had a salary loan. Esther has unfortunately passed on. Esther has no property. She has no estate. All she had, her clothes, you can't get 20K. So that's written off as a bad debt, and that's when insurance comes in for that bank. That's, you see how you have a job, employer, employee, then I get a loan from a financial institution. My employer is a third party. So when it comes to security or insurance of a loan between the bank and the other insurance companies, you who has the salary loan, why are you in their business? But if I, Esther, get a salary loan, I do not know if those institutions insure losses, because a loan is kind of like, why are you insuring someone not doing their part? But if at any point you do that, then yes, there has to be a written agreement of, me, Esther, I have my loan is insured by this, then yes. But how this works is insurance policies or companies don't cover things like, I have a loan, pay for me if I fail. We're happy to have more questions. I know we are running out of time.
I think we have
but
like 6
please,
minutes.
I encourage you, reach out to us on our social media pages. In the caption box, those fancy words produced. Questions, you need a one-on-one with a lawyer. Please call, slide in the DM. That's what the kids say.
The Gen Zs.
With a Gen Z.
Oh, please. Okay. Yes, producer.
There's a question from
Tony Fenge on Facebook. He asks, in which
months, 2 months, or a year? So that's bank policy. You can open today, get a salary loan, as long as letter of undertaking, employment contract, because the employer got. Also, remember we said part of their obligations is they're telling the bank, don't worry, we shall pay them to this account. Some people usually would try to open with financial institution X, get a bank loan, and then go to their employer and say, pay me here. So the bank then will come to the employer. You said you gave us a letter of undertaking, there's an employment contract, there are even IDs. banks do due diligence of going to like maybe even company profile. We see this person is there, but you've not paid them. Your employer, that's why it's important the bank gets a letter of undertaking. Your employer will be like, no, they decided to pay, that we pay them at financial institution. Why? But we have a letter of undertaking. You guaranteed, you promised to pay here. And those are some of the instances where your employer could be held liable because you've given us a letter of undertaking as a financial institution that, yes, this is our employee. 2, we're going to pay them to this account and this is how much they earn. You've decided with your employee to be crooks and pay the other side because it's like, ah man, this month I have issues. That's why also your employer has to, you've not paid, the month has ended. Oh, we terminated, you didn't inform us. I think then we're out of time, but your other question is, look at loans as a business. I gave you my money, I want it to grow. So if you're not able, because I've also made a financial plan, I've given 5 million, I want to, based on the lending policies, Bank of Uganda, this is how much I'm supposed to make. Fine, you're no longer able to pay. It's a business. That's why you sit, even as you're renegotiating these terms of, have lost my job or my pay has been cut, how are we paying? It's a negotiation of, okay, this is our projected what? Interest rate. And let's understand there's simple interest and there's compound interest. Be very clear, when you get compound interest and simple interest, they'll give you 10 million and they say within 6 months you should pay 12. But then there are also instances where they'll give you 10 million and they're like, every month you pay a percentage of what you owe us. If you paid 1 million, 10% of 9 million. If you paid another 1 million, 10% of 8 million. Be very clear on what kind of interest you're getting. Are you getting compound interest or simple interest? Okay. So the terms are always renegotiated, but banks are, if you think they're telling you they're punishing you for a longer payment period, like you're supposed to pay in 6 months, you want to pay in 1 year, now you're paying at 32%. That's illegal. That's why we have institutions to protect you from such fraudulent or illegal payment terms. We are out of time, but we are very happy to continue this conversation on our social media pages. Slide in the DM, call us. Our numbers are in the description box. Yes, please.
So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We hope this discussion has been very important, eye-opening to you. And in the event that you've not understood, maybe you have a question somewhere, please reach out. Do not hesitate. We are here to ensure that we serve you. We respond to all your legal questions for free. So that is very important. So please, thank you for joining us. It has been nice to have you here. My name is Irene, a lawyer. See you in the next live.
Thank you, Irene. It's been, I think before we go, I'll read the numbers are in the description box. But if you're at your desk listening, our toll free 0800 22 0000. For those on WhatsApp, our WhatsApp number is 078 58 24 078. If you prefer phone call, 0392 177 405. Those on TikTok, Barefoot Law. Those on Facebook, Barefoot Lawyers Uganda. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you for the next live. Feel free to reach out to us. We are happy to repeat this session in our DMs, have further discussions with you. Our next live will be in the next 2 weeks, Friday, 12 p.m. Please join us and we'll be happy to see you.
You could even suggest the topic.
Yes,
the topics
please.
For us to look at. That would be something that we would buy so that we give you what you want to know. Yes, thank you so much. See you on the next one.
The DMs.